Bright installations, bold performances, provocative pictures, and painted walls. Art has long been living in the new era and formation. Ask questions, be surprised, experience new sensations, and set off on an exciting journey through the world of contemporary art with Modern Art Program. Today in the program, why does an artist need green saucepans? Kenjibai Dusanbayev's thirst for coolness. Tropical birds as source of inspiration. Vyacheslav Lukko and his color neutrality. 50 Shades of Black in Art. Color in contemporary art. How important is it for an artist? Is it possible to see an idea in shades? Art experts cannot give a certain answer to this question. Moreover, different masters assign different roles to a color palette in their work. Their views range from the complete negation of color to recognition of it as the main thing in the creative process. What kind of role does it play in the hierarchy of means of expression? Through color, I can see an epoch, an artist's mood, what he was trying to say, and then I begin to decipher the symbolism of his work. Color is the strongest symbol that an artist can use. For some artists, for example, for Vyacheslav Lukko, color is not important at all. He thinks that color destroys the entire idea of a work. Art helps to convey an artist's emotions to a viewer. The color is a means of expression. That's why art critics advise paying particular attention to a color palette. After analyzing colors of a work, you can understand its idea, find out what feelings and thoughts are embedded in it. Having analyzed the color, you can even understand an entire era. Color is a symbol of time. It is a symbol of human sensations and perceptions. Color can be used to convey a statement, a protest, or, on the opposite, acceptance of something. Without a certain context, color can quickly turn into something unimportant. Painting is based on the game of colors and shades. No other type of art can be compared to painting in terms of color options. Mixing colors, adding different shades to a picture, an artist makes his artwork alive. Color can have a powerful effect on the viewer. There are two paintings in front of you, one created by the sisters Gabo, the second by Dinara Dukinbayeva. Which of them attracts your attention at first glance? Most likely the one that is brighter, but this is only at first glance. After a closer look, both works can leave equally strong impressions. And maybe the second one with darker colors will have a deeper content. The context, the message are more important. In a reflection of an artist, of course, color is everything. The form is everything. The composition is everything. There are as many artists as there are many shades of green, yellow, and blue. Everyone has their own unique color. Why is the sculpture red, not black or purple? Because an author of this art object made that decision. To solve this reason is a task of a viewer. Psychological effect of a color. It has subjective matters. For example, the poet and the artist Goethe considered yellow and blue as the main two colors. First represents the nature of light. It evokes a joyful, vigorous feeling. In painting, yellow is used to express vibrant things. I was greatly influenced by the work of Anish Kapoor. When I looked at his work yellow, I felt some kind of vibration of a color and a sense of immersion into this color. At that time, I had a desire to start painting. Anish Kapoor is one of the most influential artists to change the idea of contemporary sculpture and the ways of its representation. One of the bright features of his work is the active use of color in his works. Yellow round, haven, and blue rectangle, my body, your body, represent a separate direction in the work of Kapoor. Painted hemisphere and quadrangle painted on the wall create illusions. The plane seems to be a niche with the ball inside, and the yellow sun of the haven seems to draw the viewer into its depth. And I also like Rothko, his research of color, the way he considered colors, the way he worked with the color. Mark Rothko claims that artists start with color and not with drawing. This representative of abstract expressionism is called the creator of the color field, and his artwork Orange, Red, Yellow in 2012 was the most expensive work of post-war art ever sold at an auction. In this work, Rothko designated 3 colors, which according to Goethe are the most energetically powerful. The energy of yellow grows in orange color. It becomes more powerful. Further movement of a color leads to a red shade. The active shade of color reaches its highest energy. Notice the brightness of a red color among the neutral colors. This applies to all kinds of fine arts, as well as fashion. In this, the figurative power of a red color. Red itself is a positive color. It is a kind color. A person seeing even a bright girl in red still perceives it equally well. Passive group of colors in the Goethe system are blue, purple, and lilac colors. They evoke a gentle but anxious and a sad feeling. Blue in particular is associated with darkness and shadow. Also, a cold feeling is associated with it. This cooling property of a blue shade was used by Kinjibay Dusinbayev. A palette of brighter shades the artist began to use only in the 2000s, before the dark shades prevailed in his works. In the new paintings, blue predominates in all its variations. This is explained by the fact that the artist spent most of his life in the hot south of Kazakhstan and is always looking for a shadow, even in paintings. I have always had a craving for cold colors. I cannot specifically say why, it's just what I wanted. But I love these colors, so I get this. Blue and green colors, I try to use all sorts of shades. Of course, there are different nuances. Our eyes find rest in green color, but modern art does not seek easy ways. Therefore, conceptual artists can always add meaning to the usual things and phenomena. For example, Valery Rupel created a series of works from green dishes. But this does not mean that a viewer can relax by contemplating these art objects. For Valery Rupel, everyday objects become witnesses of a bygone era with its unfulfilled hopes. Old suitcases, clothes, and shoes fill his picture as close friends. This encourages the attentive viewer to look more closely at the routine aspects of everyday life, to notice things that previously seemed to be secondary. I've been collecting old, enameled, battered, rusty, leaky dishes for a long time, but only of a green color. Only green. And I have a large series of still lifes with holy basins, buckets, mugs with inscriptions, inventory. These inscriptions tell about the life, the former lives of these buckets and pots, about their former life in hospitals, summer camps, soldiers' barracks. In Soviet kitchens, they were mostly green dishes. Valery Rupel, in terms of using techniques, is a universal master. Under his belt, there are graphics and painting and sculpture works. I'm here showing the installation of felt bodies. The work is called kuirdak. As you know, this is a culinary dish, but I made it from the organs. Why am I interested in the image of the liver, stomach, gallbladder, and a heart? I have it in different materials. I made them using a cast and wax. There were drawings, there were a whole series of photographs. It's nice to make organs from felt. As for color options, the artist consistently follows a single method. In his works, you are unlikely to ever see very bright or out-of-reality shades. Rupel supports the idea that the value of any object is under the influence of the world in which he is. Any object has its own specific color, or, in other words, a color that has not been changed from the outside. These constants artists can use for their own artistic good. If a liver is dark red, why will I use a purple color? The opposite of stomach, or a pale lilac color. Hunt Slonim chooses natural colors in his works too. American painter and sculptor is famous for his colorful paintings of tropical birds painted from life. In his workshop at different times, there are from 30 to 100 exotic bird species. We see here a lot of works with parrots, and he said that these birds are from different continents. They are all different. There is an Australian and a Latin American parrot. They are all represented in his collections. It seems to me that this tropical exuberance of colors, this pasty painting, is very well expressed here. Despite the fact that the life of Slonim followed in the center of Manhattan, he retained his attraction to exotic, especially to tropical birds and butterflies, which he first saw in Nicaragua. These topics Slonim systematically develops in his works. His canvases are distinguished by an abundance of bright oil paints. First of all, he was born in Hawaii, and then in his student years he visited Latin America. Therefore, this exotic work attracts him. He even told that when he was creating his works, in Louisiana he saw different kinds of butterflies. In many of his paintings, Slonim uses the method of repeated repetition of images. A prominent place in the artist's works has a series of rabbits. Numerous abstract figures of these animals hunt places on backgrounds of different colors. In order for shades to play in a new way, some paintings are covered with diamond grit. Vyacheslav Luyko dedicates a secondary role in his art to color. Through the years of creativity, he created his own style of paintings, reflection which made him famous not only in Kazakhstan but also abroad. All his works are deeply symbolic, where the past and the present, the real and the fictional, are deeply intertwined. An attempt to look from a side to events that occurred and which did not happen, which were invented by mankind. I try to understand this world, analyze it. The viewer is given such an opportunity. I give conditional names for my work. Complexity and global context of these philosophical reflections does not involve experiments with color, the artist believes. In this regard, the palette of his works is predictable and recognizable always. These are works from the artist's anniversary exhibition called Return to the Tree. At first glance, it is noticeable that Luyko prefers to play with cold and warm shades of the same color. This does not negatively affect the perception of works. It is believed even if to portray the visual with cold and warm shades, the picture will still be read by the viewer. I try not to spend too much time on color. In general, I consider myself not a painter, but more of a graphic designer. I use the same technique in painting. It seems to me that the excessive color confuses the plot line, which I think is the main important thing. I'm interested in technique itself, the story, the mood, and the meaning. A rather low-key palette is the work of Alexander Barkovsky. One of the favorite techniques of the artist is printing a photo in the format of lithography and further processing it with watercolor. People from the streets often appear on the artist's photographs: gypsies, workers, just colorful characters. Barkovsky is known as the first Uzbek artist whose work of art is sold at the largest auction in the world. For the painting from the series Gypsy Madonna, he was paid £15,000. This shows that some of the finest creations ever made by artists have a limited color palette. Everything is solved by a certain force, which makes communication with color possible. This is not an instruction. To open a package, mix it with 3 spoons of something and cook for 15 minutes. It is a magical process, and I'm just trying to get the viewer's attention. You can already feel, discover for yourself some vibrations that I felt. For example, standing in front of The Yellow by Anish Kapoor.
Взгляд зрителя, вы уже можете открывать для себя какие-то вибрации, которые я ощутил, например, стоя перед желтым.
In terms of the use of color, painting differs from graphics. The value of the image in this case is in the figure. It is generally very laconic. Every detail of it is significant and expressive. The pencil is generally convenient because you only need a white sheet of paper and a pencil and you can draw anything you like. Unlike painting where you need a solvent, cloths, many different materials. The secret tool we have, Klyachko. It's like a plasticine such as a soft eraser. Absorbent material, it is very convenient to remove the excess tone. Graphics are all built on contrast. If the rhythm of painting is tied in warm and cold colors, then the graphics are based on contrasting black and white, a stroke and a clean sheet of paper. If at the disposal of painting there are gradations of shades, then the graphic combines a spot and a stroke. This is 50 shades of gray. To see something where others can't see it is a real art. The fact that we make many transitions, shadows, reflexes, falling shadows, glare, culminates everything. And against the background of contrast or soft transitions, we get a realistic image. This is already great. In order for the graphic drawing to have a soul, the artist needs to try twice as hard. Incorrect play of tones can turn the best idea into an ordinary flat picture. For example, how to draw eyes with a pencil, if the color in them plays an important role. Eyes are a reflection of the soul, and in the portrait it is one of the most important things. I now draw an abstract eye. What comes first in my head? Pupil I draw with straight black color. I strongly push the pencil. Iris of the eye I can cover with diagonal shading. At the top, our eyes are darker as the shadow falls from the upper eyelid. Therefore, I shade this area of the iris again. The hardest thing in art is to convey a black color. Moreover, many cultures have a negative attitude towards it. Experts explain this by physiological reasons. The black absorbs energy and makes vision impotent. Therefore, this color becomes synonymous with evil. It symbolizes darkness, mourning, absorption, heaviness, hopelessness, irrationality of time. With all this, black played an important role in painting. This color can be warm and cold, can have many tones and shades. It enhances the influence of a nearby color. Art critics have more than 40 shades of black. For example, Kazimir Malevich painted his black square for several months. Subsequently, he created 3 more versions of the picture, and they do not look alike with its texture or color. In modern fashion, it is commonly believed that black is a sign of elegance and luxury. Wearing black is the easiest way to look stylish. Many designers, stylists, and other fashion professionals prefer black. It gives an opportunity to relax from bright colors and prints, which they encounter in their work every day. Very often, representatives of the fashion industry choose in their personal style a black color. Kazakhstan designer Aynur Turisbek chooses this color from the first days of her work in fashion. She changes the style, texture, detail, but black is always there in her collections. But this is more of an exception. Such devotion to black color can only happen in the world of fashion. As for the fine arts, so far nothing better than the black square has been created. Each time has its own color. As in any region, there is some predominantly dominant color or which is absent on the contrary. No wonder there is a concept of British green or a Soviet red. In color palettes, certain shades are indicated like this. Of course, the main thing in the painting is not the color or what was used to create it, but the fact that it embodies the idea that the artist put in it, the most suitable means for this. In art, color can convey not only the shade of an object, but also carry emotional, psychological, symbolic meanings. Vividly, this occurs in those directions of painting where bright and pure colors are said, as even if the viewer does not know its symbolic meaning, all the same, the psychological structure of color combinations influences it in a certain way. Color is harmony in certain combination. It can be very sharp or strong, but it must be prepared by the artist in the composition. Like a shot, color is a sign, a symbol, stronger than anything. Saturation of color depends so exclusively on the author and his concept. The final combination and general range of tones for many masters is quite original or even unique. Someone is inspired by exotics and butterflies, another one by one color of different shades. There is an opinion that today the palette plays a supporting role rather than a dominant one. In the context of contemporary art, where artists are more puzzled with what mediums to use to convey their idea, the color plays probably not the primary role. The color comes later in the context of how to create the idea. Bright color in modern art is used mostly in street art, in agitational and advertising graphics, in children's, youth, and sports design. Artists in their paintings try to play with cold and warm colors to avoid overloading it with too much color, not to distract the viewer from the main idea.